Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Penny. This is Little by Little, and in today's episode we're going to talk about the actual dollhouse that I'll be building for my next project. Now, we haven't actually started the construction yet, but what I wanted to share with you today is some of the preliminary work that you have to go through when you're designing a house, because you don't just buy pieces of wood and just start nailing them together without some sort of plan. So I wanted to share with you how I plan out these new builds, the kinds of things that you have to take into consideration, and just how far I've gotten so far. But technically, all I've done physically, besides drawing out the plans, is that I've found a table, which I think I mentioned in a previous video. I had to find a table that was going to be big enough for the house. Obviously, I have found one that will work well, and now that our house plans are completed, my next step then will be to actually go out and start getting some of the wood and start actually cutting out some of the pieces. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. I will include that in future videos as to what that looks like and where we're at with that project. So one of the things that I'm really struggling with is to come up with a great name and a cool name for this project. Up until now, I've been calling it the new project. I've been calling it the house. I've called it my dream house. I'd like to settle on an actual name for the house that suits the house. So as you're watching this video, I'm going to explain a little bit about what this house means and why, if I had the means to, I would build a house like this. And then I welcome any suggestions you all might have. So if you can think of a cool name that you think would fit, by all means, put it in the comment section below. I'll certainly have a look at them. I'm excited to see what you come up with. I have a few ideas of my own, but nothing that's quite right just yet. So let's have a look at the house plans so far. So the first step in my process, always keeping in mind how much space I have and where I'm going to keep this build as I'm building it. But my first step is always to create some sort of a floor plan. I need to know how big this house is going to be, how many rooms it's going to have, how I'm going to access it as far as viewing what's inside, and how big the rooms need to be based on what I want to put in those rooms. And so what I've done here is I've started by just drawing out my floor plan. Now, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned at some point on my channel that this is the scaled down version of my dream house. This is the house that, you know, unless there's a lottery winning in my future, is as close as I'm probably ever going to get to that dream house. So I'm happy to be able to do it in miniature form. That's not a complaint, I promise you. But this is what I do if I had the means and time and money were not a factor. So my house is going to be pretty large. Sometimes I question my sanity when it comes to this particular project because it's monstrous, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with it when it's done, other than maybe donate it somewhere. But this house is going to be 62 inches by 32 inches, and it's going to be in height. The two floors together will be about 22 inches high, and then there will be a roof on top of that, which is going to be detachable because at some point I may want to take it out of this room and the door is only 30 inches wide. So something else you need to consider if you're doing something really big. All right, let's talk a little bit about the floor plan. So in most traditional doll houses, the rooms are stacked on top of each other and the house is one room deep and you can see everything from one side. I like to live on the edge, and I have created a dollhouse that is 2 rooms deep. And what that means is that I'm going to need to be able to open up both sides, the front and the back, in order to view those rooms, which is fine. I have a thought on how that'll work, and I'll share that with you in a minute. But I wanted to show you the layout and why I've put things the way I have. So the main floor will have, on the left, there will be a master suite. So this will be the master bedroom and an ensuite. And I still have to figure out the closets because I put his and her closets, but honestly, if I'm putting these into the dollhouse, you will not be able to see his closet because there will be a wall there. So I have to open this up and make it a his and hers, but that's a pretty minor detail. It will also have a study, and I've already started the furniture for the study. There will be the staircase that goes up to the second level, the entryway of the house, a fairly large living room with a fireplace that will be viewable from both the living room and the master bedroom. And then this living room opens into a nice big kitchen with a breakfast area, which will all be glassed in and will look very much like an atrium. And then in the master bedroom will be the same space, but it'll be more of a sitting area. And I haven't yet decided what kind of materials I'll use there. I think there'll be just big windows. I don't think they'll be fully glassed in like this side, but that's another day decision. And then in front of the kitchen is the formal dining room. On the second level is the guest area. Now, I know that there are some people out there who maybe frown upon these big luxury homes as oh, it's so materialistic. What do you need a house that big for? Nobody needs that much space. And I get it, because honestly, I don't need this much space. I would be happy in a 2-bedroom apartment, except that I have a very large family and lots of really great friends. And my dream when I think about a dream house is not how big and luxurious the house is. It's about how many people can I welcome into the house. And so that's what this whole second floor is about. It's about guest rooms for people who are important to me to come and stay. So in the guest area, we have 4 guest rooms. Each one will have a different theme, and I haven't quite figured out all 4 themes. I can tell you that this one here will be a beach themed, and this one here in the front on this side will be for the kids. I have 6 grandchildren, and so making like a dream bedroom for kids really appeals to me. These 2 bedrooms will also have a theme. I just haven't 100% decided. I'm thinking kind of a Navajo kind of a look in one of them, but I haven't 100% decided. But in this area will be a kind of a lounging area. So there will be bookcases, some comfy reading chairs, some games, board games, card games, a chess set maybe. This will just be a place where guests can go if they either A, just kind of need a timeout, need a little bit of downtime, or maybe they are up a little later than everybody else, or up earlier in the morning than everybody else and just wants a quiet space to sit and drink a coffee and relax. So that area will be for that. In my original house plans, all 4 of these bedrooms had their own bathroom. That is not feasible in this dollhouse because of where I would have to put the bathrooms. I would have 2 options. One would be to put it on the front wall so that you could see it, so that it would be open, but then that would block the view of this whole area in behind. Putting it lengthwise this way would cut off so much of this space, and really you're already losing a full wall when you're doing a dollhouse, right? Because you've got your viewing side, you can't really put anything up against it. And if I put it over here in this area, because it would be walled in, you would never be able to see what was in there anyway. So I've taken out the bathrooms, and my house has gone from a 6-bathroom house to a 2-bathroom house, and I'm okay with that. One other thing that I had to take out of the original plans was in the kitchen dining room area. This little odd-shaped piece here is the pantry. In my original design, you would enter the pantry and there would be like a butler's pantry that ran down the back side of this wall where the appliances are. I had to take that out again because you will never see it, and it's on the inside wall. There's no access to view what's in there. It's pointless to have it. So there have been some minor adjustments based on what I had originally wanted for a real house versus what I can accommodate in the dollhouse. One other thing to mention, this area on the top floor will all be open. There will just be railings here, and you will be able to look down into the living room from that second floor. The second thing that I needed to do was more from a structural standpoint of deciding how the walls will fit onto the base of the platform. Do you put them to the outside? So if this was your floor, do you start your walls kind of coming up from the side? Do you put them on top of the base? You know, that kind of thing. And I'm really lucky that my husband is a carpenter, and so I'm always able to pick his brain when it comes to structural questions. Because boy, you sure don't want this house falling down after all the work that you'll put into it. So I had to make some decisions there. Once that was determined, then I was trying to figure out exactly how long these pieces of wood need to be, because they're going to have to be added in sections. And so I'm almost done that, and that's these calculations that I've got here. Before I do any cutting, though, my next step, or the last step that I do, is to do basically a mock-up of the project out of some cheap garbage materials. In this case, I've just used some cardboard, and I have recreated not the roof, but the first 2 floors of this house, because I find doing that, you learn some things about what you thought would work and what will actually work. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Okay, so this is the mock-up. Listen, not a wall in this is straight or cut to the exact right size. So please don't look at that, but it'll give you an idea of kind of what I was looking at. So this is the front of the house. There will be bifold doors on either side. So those doors will be in 4 sections. This will be, these top 2 here will be guest rooms. This will be the little bathroom. This will be the lounging area, the ensuite, the study, the entryway, and the dining room. And those, you know, were pretty basic because the house is pretty square in the front and didn't give me any kind of grief. On the other side was a little bit different story. These lovely little atrium / bay window areas, there were things I didn't think about when I put those into the plan. So this is just my pretend bifold doors that will open, right? And so what I was thinking was that, oh, it'll be easy. This bottom one is the kitchen atrium, but this top one is just a balcony for this guest room. It's not going to be like a bay window kind of, or atrium. It's just sitting on top of the atrium. On the flat part of that roof will be a balcony for this bedroom. And I had originally thought, okay, well, if I just cut out from my door this space and build that space onto here, that would work. But what I didn't think about was the fact that if this is going to be a balcony, there's going to be railings on that balcony. And how do you close the door then with those railings? And so I've had I not done this mock-up, I would never have thought of that until it was too late and everything was cut, and then I'd have been cursing. So I'm glad I did the mock-up. Another good reason to do a mock-up, because it will show you the pitfalls in your design if there are any. So I have to work that out. I think probably what will end up happening is that the floor of this balcony area will probably get attached to the outside of the door rather than on here, because it's the only way I'll be able to close those doors. So that was something that I learned from doing the mock-up. But this will be the basic shape plus the roof, and will probably be some attic space up here, which I would very much like to put a craft studio up there, but we'll see how that goes. Unlike the homestead house that was made out of foam board that was easy to move around, I could take it up off its shelf and put it here on the work table. I can't do that with this new house, so it needs to be someplace that I can put it and leave it and still have access. And so I've managed to find a table that's 5 feet by 2.5 feet, which is almost the exact dimensions of the house, and it's on wheels, so I can turn it around and work on either side as I see fit. So that's the process I follow. It may not be everybody's process, and it may or may not work for you. I always said in miniatures that there are no real rules. Do what works for you. If you have a better idea of how to start a process like that, I would love to hear about it. So you are welcome to message me in the comments and give me some feedback, or give me some of your tricks and tips that you use if you're building a new house from scratch. And I mean, there's always things that I've never thought of, and I'm always happy to get that information. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me in this video. We will get to actually putting this house together in the next few weeks, but in the meantime, we'll continue with the furniture, at least the freestanding furniture, and so we won't be wasting any time, that's for sure. All right, thanks very much again. Have a great one, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.